Okay, here we are, C-Suite Network, Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. And thank you for being here. Trisha Ben is here. Susan is here. Thank you. John Kennedy, thank you. You're an ally. We appreciate you're here. Amanda, thank you. Hey, today's topic is so incredibly hot, and we are so
Today's
excited to
Thursday. Yeah.
do this program and also be able to send out the replay to everyone. And by the way, we're going to be doing many more focused programs on this important topic. And we want to invite you, our corporate colleagues, our partners, our clients, to come in and be part of the conversation. So if you're esteemed faculty, we're going to be involving you with end user clients that we can talk about strategies for all kinds of things. We're excited. So thank you. I'm Kathleen Caldwell, founder of C-Suite Network, Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. Hey, I've been a coach for over 2 decades, and I'll share, it's interesting. This is so up in the world right now, this topic about coaching and consulting with titans, with CEOs of business and with leaders. It's really important. And I'll share, I literally had a crucial conversation just yesterday that I want to share with you. So I bring real world experience into the conversation as well as you do too. So I'm so excited. Hey, I just had my 10-year anniversary with C-Suite Network. So a little confetti, very excited. Hey, there's something about staying with it, right? The tenacity of keeping your word and staying with it. And I think that that has contributed to my success and also to our topic today. So a big shout out. We have had incredible programs. We always do talk about closing the gap between clients who say they're interested, yes, and also then are committed, how to make more money, how to navigate this new diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging world, burnout, hot, important topic. And of course, Carol Kammerer talked about LinkedIn, how to get more leverage. Thank you, Susan K. Younger. You've got a whole new body of work about humanitarianism. We also had a panel talking about the success for executives and leaders in corporations, and we had a corporate coaching challenge. So we're very excited. We have great programs, and we're on every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern. So a big welcome to one of our newest esteemed faculty member partners, Amanda Taylor. Yeah. Amanda, would you like to come off mute? Tell us a little bit about you. And my gosh, you are doing so many exciting things around wealth, about wealth mindset, about CEO mindset. We are so impressed. We cannot wait for you to have a program on our platform. Would you like to introduce yourself to the
Yeah.
world? Thank
Well,
you.
thank you. Wonderful. Yes, I love talking about wealth. I help businesses not only create more money in their business, but take that money outside of their business and invest it to grow and protect their wealth. We see the pitfalls of just pouring revenue back into the business and losing that. I really want people to experience the fullness of growing their wealth and changing what that means for the small business owner. And leveraging the right debt and acquiring the right capital and strategic partners. And how do we do all of that with the right mindset, with the right people? That is just what excites me, is growing the community of small business owners and helping us take control.
Excellent. Very, very good. Great. And you are so great at it. I've
Thank you.
heard you speak so many times, and we cannot wait to feature you as our STEAM faculty partner. And also, we'll be focusing in on who are also the CEOs and business owners that need to hear your message. So we can't wait to be doing some outbound marketing to have them come join us as participants. So thank you. Good. All
Thank
right.
you.
We're so happy you're here. Thank you. Great. Thanks. So we also are so excited to, in addition to Amanda, Suzanne Ekstrom is a newest esteemed faculty member as well. And Suzanne is from Sweden. She is extremely experienced as an executive coach, and her focus is more around the leadership, around the culture of building a culture where people actually want to come to work. And we're so excited to have Suzanne here with us. And joining our council, we will be doing a program about client engagement, employee engagement, partner engagement, like through the whole ecosystem. So we're very excited to welcome Suzanne as well. Thank you. All right, great. So, hey, it's up in the world right now. Titans of business and Titans of business are, we know, CEOs, CFOs, CTOs, chief executives in the C-suite. Hey, they have got now celebrity status. And more than ever before, thought leadership is what they're focusing in on as the CEO, as the representative, as the front facing person in their business and in their corporation. And we all know that just about a week ago, there was a pretty major conflict between two titans, um, our president and Elon Musk. And, today, as we always do, we like to set the politics aside and we like to kind of set the personalities aside a bit and look for the lessons in how we can rise to the occasion as coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. And so you can see the impact. This was pretty amazing about what happened literally minute by minute of what happened with the stock price of Tesla because of what the CEO did. Now, again, this is not shaming, blaming, making anybody wrong. No, this is not what we're about. This is about understanding the stakes are very, very high. And CEOs, I thank these two human beings for bringing this situation into the world in such a very visual way, in such a vocal way, because everybody stood back. People around the world stood back and looked and said, wow, okay, this is interesting. So I think for 28 to 48 hours, the world was captivated by this exchange of what was happening. If you've got a point of view on this that you would like to share, jump in. We want to keep it, of course, what were the business lessons that we learned? Anything jumping out at you that you'd like to jump in on? Okay, great. I think sometimes it's best to observe and not get into the engagement. I certainly did not jump into X and do any commenting. I just noticed and put on my consultant advisor hat to say, there's going to be cleanup in aisle 12 from this for sure. And so CEOs and business titans are really getting the clear understanding right in front of them that the things they do, the things they say, who they are as CEOs dramatically impacts. They know this, but they got a real-time experience of it. What the subtleties, they're one tweet away from a multi-billion-dollar stock loss, et cetera, or brand loss. So as we coach and advise titans in business, there's a new era that's now happening. I think that we're going to look back in time and we're going to say, okay, this was a line of demarcation that there's more instability. Tariffs are a concern for people, obviously business owners. And I want to share with you the statistics that CEO tenure is now at an all-time low. Stress is at an all-time high. Okay. So I view this and I say, okay, this is difficult news, but hence this is a great opportunity for us. And feel free to jump in your comments, questions, points of view on this. I always have a tendency to see problems or challenges and say, okay, what's the coach approach that we can take to this? What's the advisory role that we can take? Okay. So here are the stats that are very astounding and I'm not going to read all these, but you can see that CEO tenure has dropped to just over 6.8 years. Most CEOs they're not serving any longer than 20 years. So there's a brain drain that's happening in corporate America. And of course, succession planning is at an all-time high. Finances are there's a huge amount of instability. Um, Onboarding of new employees. I mean, just everything is in flux in a new way. And this statistic that I found on Forbes is that most CEOs of companies now, they don't stay in their roles for less than a decade, less than 10 years. Some are just staying for just a couple years. What's the impact on the organization? Yeah. Amanda, would love to get your point of view and your experience on this.
It's just interesting when I see those and hear those stats. I think of the NFL because they're running it with coaches. You see this turnover, high turnover in these coaches. If they don't deliver in a very short amount of time, it's not how do we solve this? How do we make this better? How do we come together? What are our solutions? It's you're gone and moving on to someone else. That's the prime thing that I see in those statistics.
Thank you. Thank you. And from in what you do, I wonder how many of them actually have diversification in their options and diversification in their finances as well. I suspect not many, you know, because they're putting their whole mindset, they're putting everything into the next gig, but they're not literally playing down the chess game of life or business to be able to plan ahead. Hence, where you and all of us are so needed. So great point. Yeah. And isn't it almost like a sport game, all of it too, right? Yeah,
It is a
exactly. Winning,
game, and
losing,
the
yeah,
strategy, the long-term strategy is being forgotten for the short-term goals.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. Excellent point. Excellent. Great. Susan, jump in, and John, yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
Well, for me, I mean, I think the problem is that CEOs aren't actually being aware of what's happening in culture. So back when I consulted to the C level, that was always the tension, right? The stockholders, they want short-term gains, right? So they can raise the stock price. The better CEOs are looking for more growth, right? For over time, which is much better for everybody. But there's always that pressure. And I think what they have to navigate now that they weren't used to, and why maybe they're dropping out after last year's, is the culture's changed. You know, back in the old days, if a CEO said something that nobody liked, nobody cared, they were cared about the company. Now, like as a CEO can say something, it goes through social media like crazy, and all of a sudden, you know, they're losing market share. And I think that's really a stress that new CEOs have to be aware of.
John, thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. And certainly it's not what are we going to be doing in the next year in the way of revenue. It's what's this next quarter all about. And so
Yeah.
publicly traded companies, privately traded companies with investors, I mean everything. It's the near term, the short term, combining that with the uncertainty, of course, tariffs, and not taking a political stand on any of this. Is these are things that people are dealing with.
Yeah.
Return to work, DEI initiatives. I mean, just all kinds of things that are happening. No wonder people are flipping out on social media and expressing, when in hindsight, they probably wished that they had taken a major deep breath, right? Yeah. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Yes. Susan, thank you, John. Susan, you're jumping in.
Yeah, a couple of things. Number one is the need for personal brand that associates and links in with the company brand and also maintains their identity. Because so many of them anymore are brought in with this, a board may bring in a CEO because they are looking for something that needs to have a rapid change. So they're bringing in somebody who is all about how do I make this happen fast. And they are not necessarily bringing in somebody with the long game in mind. So I think it's partly how is this person being brought in to tackle what aspect of business. And so if this is somebody who has always been, the one to make the rapid changes, and then another company sportingly goes after them to come and do that same thing for them, they don't have that long term. And really, a lot of the people who are reaching the CEO level now have never worked in a company where there has been the long term commitment. So they do not have that the people did 20 or 30 years ago. However, when I was at the department store, the 12 years I was there, I went through 8 CEOs. You get a different perspective with each one of them. You, as the leaders within the organization, have to figure out how you are going to address and develop the cohesiveness of your relationship with the rest of the C-suite and this new leader, and also recognize that a lot of times they are looking to bring in leaders that they already have a relationship with, which sets a whole tension in the team of going, am I on my way out just because I'm not their bestie from wherever they've felt comfortable working before? Or can I show them what my power and strength is and how I can stand to play with them in a way that will support them and what their goal is? And that's also why leaders need to have their personal brand for how they fit in, what they are capable of doing, and then the strengths that they bring to the company. Some of it is you're able to say, hey, let me share with you. I know I had one that I literally took a plan that had been looked at in multiple different directions and was able to say, I just want to show you we could shortcut what you may consider an option because I've got X number of alternatives that have been explored. Let's decide if any of them are important or if this becomes a back burner item before you spend time getting lost in a rabbit hole you do not want to go down.
Excellent points. Excellent points. Thank you. And so, what I'm also hearing too for all of us is the importance of us building relationships with emerging leaders. And so, therefore, as they move into different parts of the organization, move up into the C-suite, we've got that trusted advisor relationship with them, and we'll be then, who would they'd rather work with someone who's an unknown or to be able to bring us in as the trusted advisor into the organization. That's been one of the strategies I've used forever to do that. So yes, excellent. Good. Okay, good. Thank you. So I think we get that. I wanted to bring to bear the numbers, which are pretty astounding. And of course, higher stress levels. And in larger organizations, I found that it's unbelievable. Of course, stress with things like market instability, litigation. Of course, when we see the stock price of any publicly traded company go down, it's open up and it's ripe for litigation, class action lawsuits. I mean, my gosh, political crosswinds, all kinds of things that are happening. And also then the CEO, the leadership team, even department heads. This is not just a titan of the CEO or the CFO or the chairman, the president of the organization. This ripples through the entire organization. As you know, it's got to be about this for companies of, we'll just say Tesla or any company. How do the employees, the partners, the supply chain, the board of directors, on and on, ripples through the organization. How do they keep their focus? So they need you and us more than ever before. Again, this is not blaming, shaming. I thank them for pointing out that leaders do what leaders do. And so they're leading the pack and showing us what the opportunities are, I think. Okay. And of course, I think this is really critically important now. Okay. And so the stakes are high. We've talked about this, and we are being called as coaches, consultants, trusted advisors, and thought leaders to help people, to guide people to be more composed, to make better decisions, and to guide their teams and their leaders through the storm, through the eye of the needle and through the storm. Because let's face it, they're not equipped. Their strengths are building the business. And Amanda, as you said, is bringing the team, the organization to success and a winning record, as opposed to all of the things that we know as trusted advisors. And so the opportunity to, and I apologize, but I wanted to get all of these points in here, is coaching and mentoring, guiding people through high stakes emotions, through breakdowns and breakthroughs, and through all kinds of power struggles, challenges, internal conflict, politics, press, even the things of being interviewed on press. How can we help our clients be more composed, more calm, be on message, and also without us getting pulled in, and helping our clients avoid the escalation and lead with emotional mastery? And so I had this experience just yesterday. I was on an executive coaching call with one of my long-term clients, and in my local community, we're on the phone, and he is sharing with me a situation that was extremely emotional for him. And it involved another local leader that I know. And so, can you imagine? When I noticed where this was going, I had to really make sure I was completely grounded, taking a deep breath and really listening, going into advising, coaching mode. Because can you imagine what would have happened if I had jumped in and kind of gotten on the side of, taken a side with him, or a position or a political view, and jumped in and kind of, I wouldn't have been helpful to him. And also, I know the other person. And so it puts the coach in a very awkward situation. But when we remain charged neutral, there to serve our client, it didn't matter to me what the other person, it didn't matter the name or the situation or whatever. I was able to coach and consult and advise him and help him get to a better place, rather than getting into the drama, of the situation. Yeah. Points of view, comments on any of that? I'm sure you've had that experience too, particularly with money and wealth, right, Amanda? I mean, it's a very volatile kind of thing, right?
Right. And yeah, I tell all of my clients from day one, you can't read the label from inside the jar. And I think they get way too close to what they're doing to be able to see any other perspective, too emotionally invested. And yes, I can come in as agnostic and unbiased and bring a different perspective to the situation, especially in wealth strategy. I'm going to see it differently than they do. I have, ways of building a strategy that they've probably never seen or thought of before, that's going to come at it from a completely different angle and going to get way better results. But it takes changing that mindset, coming at it from a different perspective. And again, bringing somebody in who's not in the middle of the muck to see it from that higher perspective.
Right. And then,
Excellent point of view. Yes, John, jump in,
I
please.
was
Yeah.
going to say, yeah. So again, that's why, when I work with CEOs, it's one of the reasons I like. They usually always have another program for that. But then, what I do is I help them see the big picture and the small picture, relieve stress, and make better decisions faster, because we're training the brain. And it's interesting to see how that mind shift shifts. As Amanda was saying, once you actually at an unconscious level can start to do that, your whole perspective opens up, right? And you don't get so focused on that one. I love what you just said. You can't read a jar from the inside, right? That's exactly what we're trying to do with our people, and that's what they need. Again, as you said, Kathleen, it's not going to get any easier. The more and more pressure they're going to have from social media and the public and all these pressures that are going to put on them, that's why they need us more and more.
Yeah.
Excellent, John. Thank you. Yeah, Amanda, thank you. Susan, you were jumping in as well.
Yeah, it really is being able to hear the other perspective. And frequently we're analyzing it, or they are, from the perspective that is theirs. And for them to be able to unlock the learning in a way that they can see the values behind the decision-making process, and why somebody is so attached to an idea when they can speak to it in the value points that the other person is thinking through. And at that point, all of a sudden, it's like the aha for them to go, oh, I get it. it's not as far from what I want to achieve. It's just a completely different direction to get there.
Yeah.
And that slowing
Yes.
down to think about it and getting out of the emotional attachment to it being my idea, uh, and actually buying into the idea that the reason you have an incredible team around you is because you want them to be able to bring those pieces to you so that collectively you can put together the resources in a more than a 1+1 kind of way.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
Thank you.
exponential. And what got you here is not what's going to get you there. And if you're so attached to the way you've always done it, you've got to
You're
be to get
Yeah,
out of that mindset.
exactly. And I think so many leaders feel that's going to make them look weak instead of recognizing that it makes them show that they are strong enough to hear something that does not sound like them and be able to embrace the learning from it to be able to take a step forward in a new direction and really let the people who are capable of doing that do that instead of putting them under a thumb that does not keep them growing as well.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you, thank you. And also to come back, thank you, Amanda, for this great metaphor. Again, we get to, this is an interactive gathering, which is so fun, is as the coach, we don't necessarily have to be the player, the caliber of the player on the field, because we can train ourselves to see what they can't see because they're in the game playing it, right? So I think that that's one thing that I've noticed stops a lot of great coaches and consultants from thinking that they can coach at the C level is, well, I've never been a CEO before, or I've never run a Fortune 100 company before, or a Fortune, 5,000 company or whatever. It's more about the things that we'll talk about in a moment. So yeah, really great. Thank you. And I love this. Hey, I'm curious. I want to pause for a moment. What are you getting from our short time together? I'm curious. We just want to put a little purposeful pause in there. A new insight, a new like aha, something that you want to tweet about or repost with a comment from someone we've talked about thus far. Curious.
I mean, I always learn from, that's why I like being on your groups, Kathleen. I mean, so just even the brainstorming part of this, and how we all kind of really understand what's needed out there that they don't. So
Yes,
that's
exactly.
kind of a
Thank
good
you.
way for us to just even help with our marketing message, right? To address where their real problems are that they may be blind to.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I
Yes,
think we're all on the same page,
Yeah.
saying the same things from the same perspective. And it's just a collaborative effort of us getting, like John said, getting our messaging right so that we can reach those people and
And
help them.
and I
yes.
think for us as well as for them, it's hearing the perspective of others that helps us to sharpen what we can
Hmm.
develop and bring in. I was with some others of our C-suite leaders last night, and we were talking about the fact that what inspires us is when somebody's talking about the greatness that they're doing and the problems they're helping others to solve, that all of a sudden we go, wait a minute, I hadn't even thought about the fact that
Right,
I
right.
have a client that needs that. How can I bring in these other great resources for them? I may not do that, but I have a associate in this organization that I can connect them to. It is not about saying if I don't provide it, I can't help you. It's about because I stay connected to so many powerful, smart people that have skills beyond mine, I can share with you ways for you to get to the resources you need without it being me directly.
Right.
And I think that sort of sharing makes us even a better resource because they know that we're not a one and done answer and we don't pretend to be that.
Yeah, I've
Excellent
grown my
point.
business by collaboration because
Yes.
I want to create the ecosphere that my clients know I am that trusted advisor and I will build as much as I can for them. And I have the trusted vetted partners to bring in and fill in the gaps that I cannot.
Exactly.
And that's why I build these networks within C-suite and other areas, because I know that these are partners that I'm going to be able to, grow with and help my clients. And it's win, win, win.
All
Love
the way
it.
around.
Love it. Hey, and in future programs, we're going to talk about the quadruple win formula. So we'll be talking about that in programs coming up. So good. Hey, awesome. And by the way, to what you're also saying is, as a trusted advisor, I think that for me, it's important that I'm not trying to fix the client. I'm not trying to solve their problems. I'm a partner. I'm an alliance. I'm a strategic asset for them. I'm uh, I'm I'm part of their team, so to speak, to help them solve problems and get the results that they're looking for. And so part of this is I have on in my Rolodex, the old Rolodex idea. I've got a couple therapists that out to, because we know as coaches, if these are restorative issues that the client is dealing with back to childhood, back to perhaps some trauma, some origin stuff, things of that nature. For us as coaches, we know the line is, the International Coaching Federation, our mantra and our ethics are we refer out. So I think this is part of having our portfolio of partners to help us with this. So yeah, great. Just a little plug in there. And that coming from the assumption of the client is fine, there's nothing wrong here. And I love the idea of that we're not just coaching performance, we're reinforcing trust between the leaders that we're working with, their people, and also themselves. Because I think a lot of times people are not feeling, especially these titans of business and CEOs and high performance leaders, they are very insulated. And who do they trust, right? Who can they trust? Who do they trust? And I think that when we show up always as the trusted advisor, that just, I mean, it helps all the way around, and trusting ourselves to be able to step forward. And so that, hey, we're worthy of it, we deserve it, and it's our time to do it, and we must. Okay. So with that, thank you. I think, and ultimately, as we kind of wind down here, is I think it's all about communication and connection with the titans of business. That's the topic for today, CEOs and leaders of business, and also helping people understanding the physiology and the neurology of why people are, their nervous systems, why are they getting hijacked? Why are they getting activated? And, external things are happening. And if people do not have strong emotional regulation of their nervous system, we know this, they're going to, they're going to act and react. And I was watching for 8 hours, kind of the whole stream of what the X posts and reposts were happening. To me, it was a complete nervous system hijack. People got reactivated. It was almost like ping pong. People were just getting activated by everything. And as a trusted advisor, you can help people calm it down, relax. And it's about coaching, we know, is about transformation. It's not just about them being inspired or motivated or even advising them. It's about the shift that can occur in a moment. I will tell you for 100% certainty, this coaching call I had yesterday with an executive leader in my community, his whole experience was transformed. He didn't have to then feel the need to go to his leadership team or his board of directors or his family and release the hostility that he was feeling. We were able to do some powerful releasing on the call. Okay. So he was able to get some new tools, get a release, feel expressed, be able to talk about what was bothering him about the situation. And I was able to just listen and be a really, really powerful listening board for him, and help him to guide himself decisively, and build trust along the way that he knew what to do, he could make better choices, that really worked for him. So it's really about the transformation. And of course, having models as we wrap up here, I think for me, this is so key is what are the models that we're using, the frameworks, the systems, the methodologies to be able to help people pull through the dynamics of the situations they're dealing with so they can be more effective. And you know the very, very popular model of what's the situation, what's the meaning I'm making it. I use that, my gosh, every day for the past 25 years, help people to understand and really pull apart what is the exact situation that's happening, and then they're making it mean a bunch of stuff. And of course we all know the emotion, the drama, the just whatever's happening is with the meaning and helping people to reframe. But I don't know if you're familiar with this 5S model. This is something that I use every day as well, is of course helping our clients. And I got to tell you, I have little sticky notes. I've got notes on my phone just to remember to use these things. And so they become, the more I use them, the more natural they become. But it's good to have a little framework that you can use that's right by where you're coaching. But helping people to tease out, hey, tell me about the situation, what's happening. Okay, having them be able to express and tell you what the situation is. Okay, then we're looking for kind of the symptoms. Okay, so what is it that you're experiencing? The symptoms. Okay, they were mad, they were upset, they were irritated. What are kind of the symptoms that are happening there? Let's then get to the source. Let's get to the source of why are they feeling the way that they're feeling. And these, as an advisor, we're just asking questions. We're guiding the other person, taking their hand, guiding them through this process, and then helping them to come up with their own solutions. Okay. What do you think could be a next step? What do you think? Where do you go from here? And always there's a shift. So doing kind of a wrap up at the end to say, okay, well, let's talk about, from when we started our call to now, what's been the shift? Okay. What are your takeaways? And, using some models that you really like and even practicing these models are really great. So having things in your hip pocket, so to speak, in your toolkit that you can use to help with your clients. All right. So thank you. We're building bridges. We're putting the puzzle to pieces together for our clients. We are important to clients. We're important to the world. We're important to help people get emotionally stable, be able to do the work they want to do, and to be able to move forward in a very powerful way. And of course, my curious question to all of you and to all of you watching the replay, thank you, is thinking about what's your coaching, consulting, advising presence. How are you showing up on Zoom? How are you showing up where your clients see you and experience? What's your LinkedIn brand? Is everything that you're doing in the most professionally appropriate way? I think this is so important because wherever I go, and wherever you go, our brand goes with us. And we talked a little bit about this earlier, but, are you showing up as the kind of executive or client advisor that people say, oh, yes, I trust this person. They know what they're doing. Everything that they're doing is high quality. Okay. Are you exhibiting the trust and delivering on, the trust equation with your clients? So just a kind of a curious question. Of course, if you have any points of view, just jump in. And with that, just a couple things that I know building on this trust and the executive presence is, to with our executive clients, hey, what we don't want to say is, hey, when it comes into advising, obviously no shaming, no blaming. Hey, you should have done this. Why didn't you do this? And then that terrible question that we should never ever ask is, what will you do better next time? Because we're not a school teacher kind of thing. We're a partner. We're a advisor, and we're getting paid and compensated to be that. So things like, hey, tell me about what's going on for you. What are you experiencing? And having the client determine what are the next best steps after all of this. Okay. So any other comments, questions before we complete? Yeah, thank you.
I'll just say I posted, it's probably been a couple of months, and John, you'll appreciate this, that and I heard it on a podcast and I can't remember who said it, but your nervous system is a member of your C-suite. And if you're not paying attention, it's going to hijack the whole team. So I love that you put that in there. I think it's appropriate within my coaching. Not only, we're very data and finance driven, we're very systems oriented, but we have a mindset coach, because obviously most of the blocks that we encounter are right up here and right in here. And therefore, I do believe that your nervous system is a member of your C-suite for sure.
Great point. Yeah, great point. Yes, thank you. That's it. And is it a help? Is it being tuned to being helpful, or is it being tuned to being the hijack? And so, and I think that what I've also noticed is, as the coach consultant, it's very easy for us to get pulled into these kinds of situations. I could have gotten pulled into a heartbeat yesterday, but I realized, having coach presence, it was like, okay, oh, I can see and hear and feel what's happening. I need to take a step back. And literally, instead of leaning in, I had to lean out and lean back.
Right.
Take a deep breath. Yeah, not get pulled in, because how can we be helpful to our clients if we're in the swamp with them, right? Yeah, if we're right in the mix of it. Yeah. Yeah,
And
John, please.
sometimes we almost have to use distraction, right? So I have a young man, I've worked with him for a long time, a lot of conflict with his dad. Every time we talked, he wanted to go on and on about dad, didn't want to get sucked into that. So I just, I do the brain training exercise. I gave him one that actually helps him think first before he says anything, which is huge. So whenever this comes up, I say, well, let's do some of these exercises. And now he does them in his head or with him before he meets his dad. So rather than dealing with what he thought the problem was, we just distracted him completely to do something that would help. And it's really made a big difference. But I think we have to do that sometimes. We have to distract away from where all their energy is and bring it back to what they need.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, John. Yes. And I think being appropriate to what does the client need? And I think that we, being the trusted advisor, building up that great relationship, that we can help them lean in, lean out, get distracted, whatever it is, whatever serves them. So yeah, great, great. Having a lot of tools. Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you. So I am curious, as we complete, just what's one big takeaway from our time together? I think that part of being a great executive coach, an advisor, a thought leader is taking a powerful stand for them, and taking a stand for not only, we coach the client, we don't necessarily coach the problems, right? But taking a stand for them and knowing that there's a higher self, a higher version of them that's waiting to be expressed. And you've got this great capability to see and imagine, visualize, and you can actually take a stand and help them with that higher vision. So that's really powerful. And be a partner, a trusted partner. So thank you. I'm curious, a word or phrase. I always like to put a little bookend on our time together. What's your biggest takeaway from our time together? Love your point of view.
Well,
I love this topic. I love it.
everything was great, but I think the biggest takeaway for me is you can't read a jar from the inside, because it's such a disarming way to make a point to someone who's not doing that, right? So it takes all the judgment off of it, right? It's just a simple picture that they can have, and they realize what's happening. So thank you for that, Amanda. That was that's a big thing for me today. Plus everything else was good, but I'll remember that one.
Yeah,
Thank you.
all great
I can see a little prop.
Yeah, I can draw you a picture. You can't read the label from inside the jar, and it's true. You can just automatically see it. You're like, oh yeah, that's
right.
I am in that jar, aren't I?
yeah.
Yes.
It's,
Yeah.
but just, reiterating that, yes, as a coach consultant, my number one job is to ask questions and get them to to come to those realizations. It's not about me telling them what to do. It's about us coming to that solution together.
Thank you. Thank you. Very, very good. Thank you. Susan, how about you jumping in? Biggest
It's the
takeaway.
it's the helping them to create their own self-awareness of the good, the bad, and the ugly, and own it so that they can decide the best way for them to move forward uh, in whichever direction is right for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. And knowing that we will be by their side, supporting them, and we are that trusted advisor, and they can count on us, and they can trust us, and together we can all do great work. So good. Well, thank you. Hey, wonderful program today. More to come, and let's go out. The world needs us more than ever before. Okay. Thanks very much.
Thanks,
Take
everybody.
care.
Thanks,
We'll see you
Kathleen.
next Thursday.
Thanks,
Bye bye.
everybody.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody. Bye bye.
Thank
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you.